The streets of Old Town Nashville stirred awake just past 7 in the morning. Commuters rushed by in coats, shoes tapping across the sidewalks, while buses hissed and shop doors creaked open for business. The early chill of autumn carried the scent of roasted beans and frying bacon through the air, guiding people toward a modest food truck painted in the warm colors of dawn. Its name, Sunrise Bites, was scrawled on the side like a cheerful invitation, and the chalkboard menu already bore the smudges of a busy morning. Among the waiting customers stood Caleb Walker, though no one in that line recognized him as the man who steered a global company or whose face had graced business magazines. Today, he was simply a man in a navy overcoat, tie loosened after a restless night, his phone buzzing with unread emails he ignored. Tired eyes betrayed the weight of boardroom battles and restless ambition, but here, on this corner, he was oddly grounded. When his turn neared, a clear, steady voice interrupted the rhythm. "Morning, folks. We're down to one breakfast wrap. Only one left." The woman inside stepped forward, brushing flour from her sunflower-printed apron. Blonde hair tucked messily into a bun, cheeks warmed by the steam of the griddle, she was nothing like the boardroom types Caleb was used to. Before he could claim the last wrap, she gently cut in, her tone firm but kind. "I think Mr. Hargrove here was before you." Caleb turned, caught off guard, to see an elderly veteran with a cane and a navy pin on his cap. The man smiled, surprised by the gesture, while Natalie, her name stitched faintly on the apron, prepared his usual order. "You remembered?" the veteran asked softly. "Of course," she answered, sliding the wrap his way. "Egg, no cheese, extra salsa." Caleb stood silently, struck by the moment. For years, no one had dared to overlook him, but here he was, simply another customer in line. Something about the honesty of it pulled at him. When she finally turned back, Natalie handed him coffee instead. "We never run out of this," she teased lightly, fingers brushing his as she passed the cup. "No branding, no polish, just hot, honest coffee." He smiled faintly, whispering words too soft for anyone else to hear. "Still remember me?" Natalie looked puzzled. "I'm sorry." "Nothing," Caleb said quickly, though inside, he wasn't speaking about this moment at all. He remembered something much older, something deeper, sitting on cold steps as a hungry boy, when a stranger had once shared half her sandwich and scribbled a hopeful note on a napkin. She hadn't recognized him. Not yet. The next morning, Caleb's sleek sedan pulled up again to the same corner. His driver asked if it was the same destination, and Caleb quietly nodded. By now, the routine had begun. A line of locals gathered, and Natalie worked briskly inside, handing waffles to a child, smiling with that simple grace that softened even the hardest mornings. By the third day in a row, she greeted him with a smirk. "You again. Starting to think you don't actually live in an office tower." "I like the coffee," he replied. "Right. Funny you've never once ordered food. Not a breakfast guy, or are you on some billionaire diet?" He almost flinched, but only smiled. "Something like that." She rolled her eyes playfully. "Well, coffee doesn't count as a personality. Around here, sarcasm is free, but muffins, you'll have to earn those." It became their rhythm. Banter, coffee, small observations. Natalie learned exactly how he liked his drink. Medium roast, 1 sugar, stirred after the third sip. Caleb noticed her kindness. How she bent to tie a child's shoelaces, slipped bread into the hands of a man in a wheelchair, sang to herself while cleaning. She treated everyone as though they mattered, no matter their story. One evening, Caleb sat in his high-rise apartment, far from the glow of the truck, holding a wooden box. Inside lay a crumpled napkin, soft with age. The words barely visible now. "Don't forget, you have a future." He remembered the girl who had given it to him along with half a sandwich when he was 10, lost and abandoned outside a shelter. That moment had shaped his entire life, carried him into boardrooms and skyscrapers. And now, he was almost certain the woman at Sunrise Bites was the same girl. Across town, Natalie sifted through her own keepsakes. Old photos, trinkets, and at the very bottom, a napkin with the same words. She, too, remembered that day, the lonely boy on the steps, the sandwich she split, the desperate need to tell him he mattered. Her heart whispered, could it be him? A storm rolled into Nashville days later, rain drumming rooftops and chasing pedestrians to shelter. Natalie hurried to fold up tables outside her truck, hair drenched, apron heavy with water. "Let me help." She turned to see Caleb, umbrella stretched above them both, rain dripping from his dark hair. Together they stacked tables, his calm presence steady beside her frantic movements. Even once they ducked beneath the awning, he still held the umbrella over her, though it was no longer needed. "You didn't have to," she said breathlessly. "You're not most people," he replied. Silence fell between them, broken only by the pounding rain. Then his voice softened. "Do you think one moment can change a person's life?" She hesitated. "Depends on the moment. When I was 10, he began, I lived in a shelter near Knoxville. My mom left one day. No note, nothing. I sat outside crying, and a girl with blonde hair came out carrying sandwiches. She sat next to me, split hers in half, and before she left, she handed me a napkin. It said, 'Don't forget, you have a future.'" Natalie froze. Her breath caught. "I still have it," he whispered. Her own memory surged. The same boy, the same napkin. She didn't speak, but her heart thundered with recognition. Their eyes locked, and though neither said the words, both knew. Inside the truck one evening, warmth filled the small space as Natalie set grilled cheese sandwiches on plates. "This," she said proudly, "is my mom's recipe. Extra butter, 2 cheeses, secret tomato jam. If you ask for the recipe, I'll have to bury you behind the truck." Caleb laughed, tasting the comfort that melted across his tongue. "That's not just food, that's home." For Natalie, food was survival, love, memory. She spoke of her younger brother, Lucas, 17, brilliant, but easily overwhelmed by the world. After their mother passed, Natalie had raised him, buying this old truck and rebuilding it piece by piece. Caleb listened with quiet awe, seeing her strength where she saw only necessity. "You make it sound easy," he said softly. "It wasn't," she replied simply. But it was honest, and for the first time in years, Caleb felt safe. Not in a mansion, not behind gates, but in a food truck, with grilled cheese and warmth and someone who saw him as a person. Weeks passed like this until one morning, the fragile piece shattered. Cameras, microphones, a black SUV pulling up beside the truck. "Caleb Walker, CEO of Walker Innovations, what are you doing here?" Reporters swarmed, flashes blinding. The name sliced through the air like a knife. Natalie's hand trembled, coffee spilling to the ground. "You're," her voice cracked. "You're that Caleb Walker." He tried to explain, but she cut him off, anger and betrayal rising in her voice. "So the man who laughed in my kitchen, who listened to stories about my brother, that was just a disguise. A game." "No," Caleb pleaded. "I wanted to be seen as myself, not as a company, not as money. Just me." But it was too late. Her trust collapsed beneath the weight of truth. She turned away, retreating into the truck as cameras clicked and voices swarmed. Caleb's hand reached out, his voice breaking. "Natalie, please." The door shut, sealing him out. The days that followed were silent. Sunrise Bites was gone from its corner, the cheerful yellows and oranges hidden now behind a fence in a dusty lot. Natalie sat in her small apartment, staring at a classified ad on her laptop. "For sale. Used food truck. Good condition. Needs love. Love." The word stung like salt on a wound. Her brother shuffled in quietly, unaware of the storm in her chest. She forced a smile for him, but her heart felt heavy with loss, the loss of a man who had once been a boy she saved, and who had, without her knowing, been saving her too.